I've got some of the key adjectives here around Marimo from our research. So it's open source, it's reproducible, it's Git friendly, it's AI native, and it's a reactive notebook. So a few things to dig into here. The open source thing, for example, you guys are doing very well. 4 million downloads, I understand already at the time of recording, which is very cool. It must be amazing to see people, just voluntarily being like, this is a solution for me. I need this tool, something that you've spent all this time writing and developing and leading the product on. So that must be cool. But what I want to talk about is the word reactive here. Um, and so the idea is that it's a better tool. Marimo is a better tool because it nudges users towards better data science practice by being reactive in this way. Tell us more about that.
Definitely. Nudges is a good word. One of our users described it as gentle parenting. Um, okay, so yeah, what reactive means is it's just what it means is that Marimo keeps the code on the page in sync with the outputs you see. Um, so basically, say you have three cells. The first one says A equals 1. The second says B equals A plus 1. And the third one is C equals A plus B. And then you output those. You output the variable in each, right? So you see in the first cell, A equals 1, B equals A plus 1 equals 2, and then C equals A plus B, 1 plus 2 equals 3. Now, what reactive means is if you go back to the first cell and change the value of A from 1 to 2, the next two cells will, and then you run that cell. So you change the value of A equals 1 to 2, and then you run it. The next two cells will automatically run with the updated value of A. And so their outputs will update to, I can do this in my head, right? 3 and 4 or something, right? Like, so they'll recalculate like a spreadsheet, sort of like you're used to. And like, why does this matter? And why is this a good thing? I guess two things. So one is actually it just like leads to like way faster like data exploration. Like instead of having to like manually change the value of a variable and then like hunt for all the other cells that use that variable, Marimo will just automatically run them, and you can just see really quickly in real time, like, you know, what do the new outputs look like? So that's one. But the other one, which is a maybe more subtle, it is the reproducibility aspect, which is like because if you forget to run a cell that depends on a variable you just changed, now you can't trust any of the outputs in your notebook, and your experiment is kind of borked. So that's the main that's what reactivity gives you. And like one thing, I'll just pause because if there's machine learning practitioners or AI folks in here, the next question that always comes up, which I'll anticipate, is, oh, but like some of my cells are going to start like kicking off like a GPU training job, and like I don't want that to start automatically. Like it's expensive. I can't interrupt it. And so for those situations, Marimo does have a button that says make execution. We call it lazy. And so if you do that, then if you run a cell, Marimo will just mark the other ones that depend on that cell as stale, but it won't auto run them, and it'll give you a button to run them. So like you still get guarantees on like the reproducibility and the state, but you can rest easy that you're not accidentally spending your OpenAI credits or whatever you're doing that's expensive.
Nice. And so I guess that ties into how you've previously mentioned that Marimo's reactivity makes UI elements like sliders and plots substantially more useful than Jupyter widgets. And I guess it's because of what you just described, where in the Jupyter notebook, you don't know necessarily like those any kind of UI elements, any plots that you're outputting, any sliders you might have in the notebook, you don't know in the Jupyter notebook whether those are being updated properly based on other changes that you've made. Is that kind of where that reactivity becomes useful there, or is it something else?
Yeah, no, that's essentially it. So like in a traditional style notebook, like if you had a slider, first of all, like getting that hooked up to like even propagate its value back to Python is like kind of challenging. Like you have to have callbacks and stuff. And even if you do, like the things aren't going to automatically run with the updated value of your slider. So it's like, okay, what was the point? Whereas in Marimo, you import Marimo as Mo into your Marimo notebook, and now you have access to a bunch of UI elements, such as sliders. So you could replace the variable A, I said, instead of it just being an integer, it can be a slider. And now as you like scrub the slider with your mouse, like the other cells are automatically running as well. Um, and so that's like the interactivity feeds into reactivity to give you like a truly dynamic experience that can really, really speed up your data exploration. One concrete example, like I guess from the PhD, that sort of like uh, really helped. What I really wanted to achieve, and I think we achieved pretty early, was like you can even output plots in Marimo where you can select like a cluster of like a scatter plot, like with your mouse, and then those points get sent automatically back to Python as a data frame, and then for downstream analysis. So like it really opens up like new sort of kinds of interactive experiences.